Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rant. I didn't hit the open again, so we're going to have to start this over. But first, before we do that, let me get the chat room working. Hold on. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start it again, okay? Hold on. I apologize. New studio, new ways of doing things. I'll explain in a minute. Ugh. What do you mean the mic is mute? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure stuff out. Welcome, everybody. This is The Rant. RadioMisfits.com presents Radio Misfits Dallas. Got to get that right. Radio Misfits Dallas. We're the second office of Radio Misfits. Of course, Radio Misfits Chicago is the home team. We are Radio Misfits Dallas, live from the E-Gallery Studios in Dallas's I almost said fabtastic Design District. We got a new look for you today. This is a new backdrop. Every day I'm going to be presenting a new backdrop. Yesterday we were live from the Tomb Room. Today we're inside the Tomb Room. Today, here you go. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this giant, and again, this is another old-timey ancient thing. Actually, I don't know how ancient, but can we show that? Look at that thing. Oh my God, if we had a wide shot. If I wasn't such a narcissist, I would just make this show a wide shot. But all right, that's what we got. So I guess we're just gonna have the camera trained on the genital region of whatever that is. Hold on, let me look. Let me see what this is. What would it surprise you to learn that this thing is wood? This is carved from wood. Looks to be some kind of a. Now I don't know if this is related. Yesterday I showed you the Tomb Room, which is a, oh my goodness. Here we go. We got to get it better centered. Yesterday, I showed you the Tomb Room. That was our backdrop. Those were ancient doors that somebody purchased on a trip to Central America. Brought them back, and now they're here in the design district for somebody building, I don't know, maybe a 10 to 15,000 square foot mansion, and you just need to up your door game. You can come here and you can get these ancient tomb doors. Now, the thing behind me, the statue behind me, is also another one of these super old pieces from some exotic location in the world, but I don't know that it's related to the tomb. Hi, Peter. Peter's here. Let's say hi to the chat room, all the guys. Peter is here. Jeff is here. Byron is here. Leslie is here. Who else do we got? Who was first in? Oh, my God. Look at this. Jameson is here. My old friend. What's up, Jameson? Let's see here. Peter is calling me the Dark Overlord. Yeah, this is, inside the Tomb Room, all I can tell you is anything can happen. I don't know what kind of mythological demons I've released just simply by doing the show here, but we shall find out. Today's going to be a bit shorter of a show. Going to have to get out of here about 1:45, okay? So just you're duly noted. I got e-gallery business, which hopefully will someday turn into business. But right now, it's just, what do they say? Fake it till you make it. I hate when people say that. I don't want to fake it till I make it. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather just make it. I'd rather just, let's work with people. But I understand the con. Americans love a con. Americans love a good fake job. What is this show? It's a daily rundown of all the things that are happening in the world. Hot topics, current events, headlines, whatever it is people are discussing or buzzing about. I'm going to give it to you here. Typically, it's about a 2-hour show. Today's going to be about 90 minutes, a little bit shorter. We do the show in 4 quarters. The first, we call it antecedently on this day. That's just this day in history. Then there's birthdays. That's quarter 2. You know what that is. Quarter 3 is deads. We look at people who died on this day and we decide where they go, heaven or hell. Quarter 4, that's where, the show really begins. That's all the hot topics, current events, and things that people are buzzing about. I also, it should be noted, perform this show in what is known as a stream of consciousness. What is that? Well, Basically, I have an outline of all the things that are happening, and I will draw from that outline throughout the show. But most of the show is just a stream of consciousness. It's one unfiltered, ungoverned thought after another popping out of my head. If it pops into my head, I'm going to say it. That is my promise to you. And we do it every day around this time, noonish, for 3 years now on the RadioMisfits.com platform. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Peter says that the thing behind me, whatever it is, I don't know. I'll take a picture of it. I'll put it on Facebook, Twitter. What is it? I don't care. Then you guys can. I don't know if it's a real thing. I don't know what it is. I should probably ask somebody. You know why? You know why I don't have to ask somebody? Because if some idiot, not an idiot, I'm sorry, somebody with money and taste and sophistication and wants to spend X amount of dollars on something, I would just make it all up. I would just be like, oh yeah, that's the ancient Hindu god of, and then I'd say, oh, I forget. And then I'd immediately Google ancient Hindu gods and just grab the first one that doesn't look like an elephant. Because that one doesn't look like an elephant. That one's a person. It looks Hindu to me. That's what I would say. I don't know. I'm still working on my game. You guys ready? I'm getting ready. By the way, the show, direct your attention there to the bottom of the screen. The show runs on your tips, your gratuities, and your, you know how everybody does super chats and all that. I don't do super chats. I don't know how to do that. And besides, I don't like the idea of Google getting the money first. So if you want to support this kind of what is ostensibly talk radio, non-divisive. Oh, wait a second, that's not true. I keep saying that. It is divisive because you people are going to not like everything I say. But I hope you all know that it comes from a place of, I think I was raised right. I think I have good people as influences. I don't have any malice in my heart. Maybe I'm just dumb. Like if I say something that makes you mad, maybe it's just because I'm dumb. Maybe just because it's dumb and I need to be educated. I'm always open for that. Life is a journey where education never stops. Hiya, Frankie. Look at Frank saying hi to me. Jeff Ballard's here. Hi, Jeff. Jeff says, I'd go with pre-Columbian if you were trying to pull something out of your ass. The pre-Columbian, especially, the Illinois and Iowa, which I'm sure Jeff is talking, the Mississippian culture is one that has always fascinated me. You're right. I could probably riff better on. Oh man, it does not look native North American at all. It looks very much like maybe East. That's why I went with India, because it looks very East influenced. I don't know how good I am. I don't know if I can pull. Well, it's from the Mississippian culture that lived in this country around the year 2. I like pre-Columbians. You know why? Because of Cahokia. You guys know what Cahokia is? I lived in Illinois my whole life, essentially my whole life. Lived in Illinois my whole life, and I would go places like Boston, and then Ireland, and then, England, and you would see shit that's real history. And you're like, how come I don't have any of that? Like the history that I grew up around was this building was built in the 30s. Chicago history didn't really go back all that much. Well, they would say because there was a fire and it was all, but no, that's just. So that's how I was raised, thinking that my state, my homeland, was completely devoid of any kind of true culture. And then I'm driving down to Memphis with a group of people, and we drive past the Cahokia Mounds. You know what these things are? These things are in the middle of Illinois. They're like the oldest thing in America. They're but they get no good pub. They get nothing. They're older than the pyramids. And they were built by the Mississippian culture. The pre-Columbian Mississippian culture put these things up. It's amazing. I've stopped at Cahokia 3 times now. It's like spiritual. It's like in the middle of farmland, Illinois. And then all of a sudden there's this national park. It's not just a national park. It's like a globally recognized, important, architectural site and all that. And it's right there in Illinois, right across the river from where Jeff is. We got history. We got stuff. We just didn't learn about it. We learned all about what our ancestors did over in France and Germany and Russia and all that stuff. That's what we were. We didn't learn anything about what the people who were actually here did. I didn't know there was a pre-Columbian thing until college. What do I know? Peter says we should do a museum tour and you could be our guide and BS about all this stuff. Yeah, we can do that. Like totally nonsense tour. But going in, it's going to be nonsense. That would be a test of my improv skills and my ability to bullshit. I love that. That is a truly unique, I could start that, a tour business. Kojak is here. Bada bing, Kojak. Kojak sent something. He sent some show material. Maybe we'll open that live on the show today if we get to it. I haven't opened it yet. I apologize, but I will. Frank says the most historical thing in Dallas-Fort Worth are the stockyards in Fort Worth and the Texas School Book Depository in Dallas. See, Frank, I get it. I get what you're saying. But that's like the oldest like white man history. Like you're telling me that nobody lived here in like the year 2? There was a gulf. There had to have been some sort of sustained life in the year 2 in this area. How come we don't know anything about that? And by the way, hold on, take that back. Frankie, we got dinosaurs here. Unless you're one of those people who don't believe dinosaurs existed, but we got dinosaurs in Texas. They found them. We got why didn't we ever learn about that stuff in school? I mean, I didn't because I was growing up in Illinois. Why would teach me about Texas history? That wouldn't have been a thing. All right, let me open up my notes so that we can get started here. Like I said, we got a busy day today. Did I mention tip the show if you can? That would be great. That'd be great. Not saying it's my birthday week, but my birthday is on Saturday. Huh? All right, let me see here. What do we got? Is this going to be for today? This is going to be for today. Okay. You ready to get started with the rant? I am Pugs Moran, coming to you live from the eGallery Studios in Dallas's beautiful design district with today's rant. Did you know today's the 18th day of July the 18th, 2024. It is the, what is the number there? Didn't we have the number? Wasn't today? It's the 200th day of the year. 200. I'm not going to fight with this mic all day. What if we just start it here and then it'll slowly go this way? It spins away from me. It's a chord issue. Everybody's worried about chords. We can't show the chords. Nobody fucking cares if they can see the chords. It's about the content. It's the 200th day of the year. 200 of these. What does that mean? That means 166. I know you're saying, Pugs, there's only 365. Leap year, motherfucker, leap year. Feeling a little salty today again. Yesterday, I told you why I was salty. I'll tell you why I'm salty today. Here's why I was salty yesterday. My turn signal went out. So the whole show, I'm like, God, Jesus, I got to change a turn signal bulb. And I have very limited experience doing this. Here's what I do know. I'm not a pussy, so I'm not going to take it to somebody and have them change a bulb. I think I can change a bulb. I already have enough self-loathing about not being able to consistently change the oil in my own car. But hey, we'll get over that. A bulb, a headlight, coolant, that kind of stuff. Checking the oil. I do all that. Change a tire. Those are all things that we got to know how to do as guys. Oh, what are you, a masculine representative of the patriarchy? Hardly. I just feel like, God, and especially when you're broke. I mean, would take it to Pep Boys and have them put a $10 bulb in there? I can do it. But I haven't done it a lot. But I know I've done it in the past. So the whole show yesterday, I'm a little salty because I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to watch YouTube videos on how to change a taillight blinker. Well, I did it. It was so easy. It's like one of those deals. I don't know why I do this to myself. I don't know why I make things so complicated. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do it. And then guess what? I did it. I did it in like 30 seconds. I did it in the parking lot of an O'Reilly auto parts store or wherever it was now. I don't know where I went. I went to someplace on Inwood. Walked in. But now, it used to be you walk into an auto parts store. Remember they used to have the catalog? You just open a catalog. You go to your car. And then you'd find the part that corresponds because, oh my God, the chaos of an auto parts store is insane. There's everything. So anyway, they used to have that. Now you know what they got? Now they got one of those phone things. Take a picture of this and it'll take you to the website. Well, guess what? The internet wasn't working really well, so it didn't take me to the website. So I had no options because there was no backup. They don't even have the catalog still there. So I went up and I asked Leslie. Leslie was the girl working behind the counter. I'd put her at about 24 years old, African-American, big boned, and delightful. I was a little scared. because, I'm a guy and now I got to go up to a girl and I got to be like, can you help me get a bulb for my, like that. And so that's a little emasculating. Leslie, she had a big smile. She was like, how can I help you? And I said, well, the phone, I can't because it won't. And she said, oh, is that not working? That thing never works. Come here, honey. And she had walked me over and she said, what kind of car you got? She like knew from memory. She's like, this one will work. And I said to her, Leslie, will this one work? Or is this the right one? Because, I know a lot of guys who work on cars. And there are a lot of shit is that this will work, which it's not what you want. She said, no, baby, that'll work. And I'm like, how much? And she goes, $8. And I'm like, I can totally do that. $8. And guess what? It was raining. I don't know if you remember, it was raining yesterday afternoon. Walk out, and right there in the parking lot, like a real American son of a bitch male, I did the work right there in the parking lot of the auto parts store. Took me about 90 seconds. 90 seconds, just pop that tail light out, replace that bulb. Oh, but I did have an incident. Because of course, it can't go pulling the bulb out. It says, just pull the bulb out. And I'm like, okay, is there something? Do I need to compress it? Or is there a switch I got to pull? Does it just pull out? But it didn't pull out easily because it was corroded because it's, it's been a while. Probably never been replaced. That's the factory bulb. So I pull it out. And it breaks. It breaks off in there, like half the bulb. And I'm like, now it's a bigger job. Now I got to get the whole little harness replaced. But I had tweezers in the car. Don't ask why. I'm obsessed with nose hair. That's why. I had tweezers in the car. And I went in there and I tweezed that son of a bitch out. Wasn't even sure I got it all. Stuck the new bulb in. Tried the turn signal. Success. There you go. That's my story of changing my turn signal bulb. Because I'm a real man. I'm an alpha. Kojak would like me to check my blinker fluid. Get right on that. That's a funny story. We were like 20 years old or something like that. And we were going to this fast food restaurant to grab some food. We were a bunch of kids. And we jumped in the car of Sammy. Sammy was the little brother of Tony, my friend. And he was driving. He had just gotten his license. And he was like really a nervous like driver and all that. So we saw this as an opportunity to kind of fuck with Sammy while he took us to Brown's Chicken. That's where we were going, Brown's Chicken. 159th and Oak Park Avenue, Brown's Chicken. So we get out there and we get to Brown's Chicken and he's doing all this. We get out of the car and we're walking in and we turn around and we look and Sammy's still like messing around with the car, right? And we're like, what are you doing, Sammy? And he's like, making sure the brakes are on. And we're like, making sure the brakes are on? What? So this kid doesn't know anything. So we get in line and we walk in and then Sammy comes in and he's bringing up the rear. And as we making small talk, making fun of Sammy a little bit about how, he's nervous. And then somebody says to Sammy, they go, hey, Sammy, did you put the tire locks on? The tire locks. That thing's going to roll right into Oak Park Avenue if you don't have the tire locks on. And then another one of my friends goes, oh, my God, the car's rolling. Sammy bolted out of there. Oh, and we all laughed. It was hysterical. Kid thought you had to put tire. I mean, he wasn't that bright. I don't know what he is now. He's a grown-ass man. But it's like, have you ever seen your father or mother when you were driving as a little kid put tire locks on? Nope, but Sammy bought it. So Kojak, I'll get right on checking my blinker fluid. What do you say we get started? Let's do it. We already did. I told you it's the day. It's the 18th day of the year. Let's do quarter one. Quarter one is a little thing that we like to call antecedently on this day. What is it? Well, just a fancy name for that tired and true bit this day in history. Let's get started. This thing is going to kill me. So why does it want to turn? That ain't good. All right. You stay right there, microphone. This will have to work. Antecedently on this day in the year 1925, how about this one? Adolf Hitler publishes Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf. I read Mein Kampf. I read Mein Kampf in college. It was required reading. It was about the influence of journalism, the influence of propaganda, and all that kind of stuff. I read Mein Kampf, and unlike a lot of other idiots who read Mein Kampf, at the end of it, I went, interesting, but it is Hitler. So, Mein Kampf, you'll hear these. Mein Kampf is actually a pretty good book. No, it's not. It's just the raving. It's a political worldview. I don't want to get into it. Never mind. If you're familiar with it, you know what it is. I also read the Satanic Verses. Not the Satanic Verses, the Satanic Bible. Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. Guess what? Not a Satanist. Didn't turn me. I don't know. That's a much better book, though, than Mein Kampf. The Satanic Bible, which was written, but it's not like a Bible. People don't even know what the Satanic Bible is. Oh, it's like a Bible, but for the devil. No, it's just a crazy book about the way this dude sees the world. And it does kind of outline. So check it out for yourself, the Satanic Bible. Oh my God, look at me. Now I'll never get hired because I'm on the air advocating people read the Satanic Bible. Look, let's just cut it off there. I'm just advocating that people read classic pieces of literature and journalism. That's all I'm saying. Peter says, how is CeeLo? Oh, okay. So that brings me up. I told you why I was salty yesterday. I was salty yesterday because I was concerned about how hard it was going to be to change my turn signal blinker. Not hard. Today I'm salty because as I'm walking out the house, I left the garage door open and I hadn't closed it yet because I had my hands full and I had the little clicker thing and I was clicking the garage door and the dog got out and she just ran right past me, made a hard right down the alley and just started taking off. Luckily, I was already in my car. So I'm like, that's it. Game on, bitch. And I just start roaring down I'm chasing her. This dumbass dog. I chase her. She's smelling something. I don't know. Maybe she found a dead animal or something. She really likes dead animals. She finds something, a squirrel or something, and she stops. And then I pull up next to her. And we are at the state now with her running away where she knows she's going to come home anyway. But she just likes the thrill of the initial break. So I pull up next to her. She's like about 10 yards away with a squirrel. And I just go, come on, girl. And I open the car door. And she comes running and she just jumps in the back of the car door. She didn't know what was going on. See, here's the thing. She loves car rides. And every now and again, just to reaffirm how much she loves car rides, I'll just put her in the car with the window down and go around the block a couple of times. That's like a trip to Six Flags for her. She loves that. So she got away. I was very upset, but then all's well that ends well. Things are looking up on this birthday week. The dog got away and she came back, no problem. I didn't even have to have food. Usually that's the first thing I do when the dog gets out. And by the way, I know that, she's a really scary defense dog and all that stuff. And she's 95 pounds and, she would kill each and every one of us if she really wanted to, if we were unarmed. But when she gets out, that's not what she is. When she gets out, she's just like, she runs up to people. She lays on her belly. She's only like really rough when it comes to her house. Like if you're outside her house, don't be, because that'll make, she gets really mad. But when she gets out free, she's okay. James Parker, my friend at WBAP 93.3 FM and also something on the AM. I don't know. He does the show there 2 to 5. She's attacked him 3 times. 3 times she has gone after James. You know why? Because James was in her house. James said James came in the house. He sat down on the couch. And I know. You live, you learn. I don't know. I was a bad dog owner, I guess. I didn't anticipate that happening. She came after him. And I had to kick her ass. And I did. And then a few months later, it happened again. She came after him again. She didn't really attack him the second time. I think she only bit him once. And it wasn't even like, I'm going to take your foot. It was a, who the fuck are you? Explain now kind of bite. But God, she didn't recognize him. Like the third time, I'm like, you're supposed to recognize people. But I think once she bites you, she's like, you're on her shit list forever. So don't let her bite you. That would be my pool guy. Pool guy's on her shit list forever. The landscaper guys, they're on their shit list forever. James Parker on her shit list forever, apparently. Hi, Bill. Bill's here. Frank helps me out. He says WBAP is 8:20 a.m. There you go. All right, so we talked about Mein Kampf antecedently on this day. Antecedently on this day in 1944, Hideki Tojo resigns as Prime Minister of Japan because of numerous setbacks in the war effort. Tojo! Today's the day he went down. Antecedently on this day in 1976, Nadia Comaneci becomes the first person in Olympic Games history to score a perfect 10. I remember that. That's like one of my first sports memories. Seriously, I was probably 6 years old. And I remember how nuts everybody was for Nadia Comaneci. And I remember Perfect 10. And I also remember Bela Karolyi. Remember that dude? That's the first time we saw Bela Karolyi. I liked him because he looked like a human walrus. And I was little. I was 6. So I liked him. Anyway, it was on this day. Nadia Comaneci. On this day in 1984, McDonald's massacre in San Ysidro, California, James Oliver Huberty kills 21 people and injures 19 others before being shot dead by police. I remember this. This one in the Lubies one, right? Here in Texas. They were like really, those dudes, like, you know, as far as shit that are commonplace today, they were pretty ahead of the curve on all that. They started shooting. This was 1984. When was Lubies here in Texas? Is that after 1980? Which one was first, I guess, is my question. Frank, get on it. Frank likes to Google. He always gives the good tips, you know, everything like this. Frank, I need to know what happened first, the Lubies incident here in Texas or the 1984 San Ysidro McDonald's incident? Thank you. We'll get an answer to that, I'm sure, shortly. Antecedently, on this day in the year 2013, the government of Detroit, with up to $20 billion in debt, files for the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history. Detroit. Detroit's coming back. I got friends who live in Detroit. Detroit's coming back. Detroit, first of all, Detroit suburbs. This is, you know, I get this a lot being raised on the south side of Chicago. There is a national perception of the south side of Chicago. It's just not true. Some of it is, but, you know, the south side of Chicago is very big, and there's a lot of different kinds of neighborhoods. Anyway, Detroit's the same way. People think Detroit sucks. Detroit's suburbs have always been nice. Detroit is very pretty. Why? Because Michigan is gorgeous. But they went into bankruptcy back in 2013, the largest municipal bankruptcy in American history. And who did they get to fix it? Kwame Fitzpatrick. That's right. You guys know Kwame Fitzpatrick? You Trump people. He's one of yours now. He's a MAGA guy. Kwame Fitzpatrick was swept into office in Detroit as this super progressive, super liberal, power to the people kind of guy. And then, he turned the mayor's mansion into a brothel. And he embezzled over $1 million. And when he embezzled the $1 million to counteract the embezzling of the $1 million, he closed down the city zoo. This guy, Kwame Fitzpatrick, man of the people. Son of a bitch. He's all MAGA now. Did he speak? I think he's speaking either tonight or last night at the RNC. If you are a disgraced politician, you are a part of MAGA. You have been welcomed into that thing. Rob Blagojevich, seriously, it doesn't matter if you're a liberal who they're like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. You can't be a liberal anymore. Those dudes are like being welcomed. Kwame Fitzpatrick. When I found out that he was speaking at the Republican National Convention, one of the great criminals in American political history, certainly one of the great big city mayor criminals of the last 50 years. Jesus, man. Anyway, happy anniversary, Detroit. It was on this day when you filed for bankruptcy, largest municipal bankruptcy in the history of these here United States. Let's talk about some birthdays. Want 'em, they say it's your birthday. By the way, we're going to talk all about the RNC. I didn't watch it again because I'm not a nerd, but I do follow it because, I follow the news. So I saw a bunch of clips and stuff. We'll talk about that. Talk about what's coming tonight. We're also going to talk, don't worry, because I'm an equal opportunity offender. We're going to talk about the other idiots too. So stick with me. Let's see here. Birthdays. Born on this day in 1918, Nelson Mandela. Oh, Nelson Mandela. He's like Gandhi and Mother Teresa. And I don't know. Is he? What do we know about Nelson Mandela other than what the national brand was? He was wrongly imprisoned. That's a fact. Indisputable. Wrongly imprisoned by what we now all, I think, reasonably can agree was an incredibly racist government, the apartheid government down there. But I don't know if he was a good guy. Like, because that happened to him, when he came out, he was elevated and exalted. And I'm sure there's been books written, but I don't look, here's what I know about Nelson Mandela. He seemed like a nice old guy. He was always smiling. Did he speak English? I don't know. I don't know. Like when I'm picturing Nelson Mandela, speaking, I'm hearing the Pope. I don't know why. Does Nelson Mandela speak English? No clue. Anyway, good for him. Born on this day in 1918. I'm just saying, are there rocks to be overturned there? because we now know in 2024, we now know that for the past 50 years, there have been fully propagandized and created narratives and brands about people. We know it. We Bill Cosby, we know it. All these fall from graces that I like to mention from time to time. They're all examples of it, of how we were told a certain narrative, and it turns out that this person is completely different. I don't know. I don't know. Because all I know is the narrative about Nelson Mandela. But God bless him, I suppose. If that's all I know and that's all I'm going on, God bless him. He's a saint. Is he? Heard some bad stuff about Gandhi recently. Look, Gandhi. They's coming for Gandhi. Holy shit. On this day, born in 1921. God damn. Colonel John Glenn? What was he? Wrong hand. John Glenn. You want to talk about a national narrative? This guy. John Glenn was the perfect man. John Glenn was an astronaut. He wasn't just an astronaut. He was one of the right stuff guys. He was one of the original Mercury astronauts. And John Glenn, here's what I know, and I know a lot about the astronauts, especially the Mercury astronauts. What with Right Stuff being my favorite film, one of my favorite films. My kid always gets mad at me because whenever a movie I like comes up, I go, "That's my favorite film." And he's like, "You can't have 50 favorite films." I go, I know. It's not my number one. I am pretty static on my number one, Dr. Strangelove. As anyone who knows me knows, Dr. Strangelove, my favorite movie of all time. You know what else? I'm thinking like at my funeral, I might make you fucks watch Dr. Strangelove. I might just do that. That might just be, he wanted you all to sit here for 2.5 hours. I think that might be something I'll do. I don't know if we'll do that before or after they make everybody listen to the song. I imagine I'm in a casket, although they're going to burn me. Here's the thing. I want to be cremated, but I also want like the whole come look at me in my casket before they burn me. I want both. Can that be a thing? Anyway. I want when I'm in the casket, I want somebody to just take a giant boom box, and it's got to be a boom box. I want a giant boom box, and I want it placed on top of the casket, and I want Alice in Chains' song, "I'm the Man in the Box," to be played. That's what I want, and I want you all to have to sit there and listen to it. I want you to laugh. I want you to get the joke. That's what I want. I want you. Come on, Man in the Box. I'm going out with puns. How awesome am I? John Glenn was truly awesome. John Glenn, of all the astronauts, and those were some wild mofos, man. Some of those astronauts, they were not great people. They were narcissistic, ego-driven. In other words, if Jackass, the show was in production back then, these are the kinds of dudes that would have been on Jackass in 1958. Not John Glenn. John Glenn, our birthday boy today, 1921. He was the real deal, man. He was the real deal his entire life. That dude was a Marine. He was a Marine officer. He did everything but John Glenn is an amazing American who I don't think gets enough credit. He'll go on to be a long-serving senator. Dominant senator from the state of Ohio. John Glenn, born on this day in 1921. Born on this day in 1937. How about Hunter S. Thompson? This fucking lunatic. I kind of resent Hunter Thompson because when I was younger, I really liked Hunter Thompson. I really thought he was fascinating. When I was fancying myself as a young journalist or storyteller or whatever it was that I thought I was, Hunter Thompson was sort of a guy who I would look to as going, well, he could do it. Well, yeah, only he could do it. That's not a lot of bad habits. There's a lot of bad journalism that we now accept as mainstream journalism in this country. And we blame journalism for everything, right? Yeah. A lot of that shit, a lot of that laziness, a lot of that fictionalizing sources for a better narrative, that all came from Hunter Thompson. And although at one point he was a hero of mine, look, time in the perspective of history, we see what has been wrought from that style of journalism. Now, did he do fun stuff? Yeah. Does it really matter as compared to like journalists who do those things that I'm complaining about now when covering serious issues like politics? Yeah, I make a distinction by that. But Hunter Thompson showed people a way of lazy journalism that seems to... Now, he was also a great entertainer, though, so there's a lot of moving parts with this. But that has always bothered me about him. Hunter S. Thompson, he blew himself up. Isn't that how he died? I think that's how he died. That was another thing that really upset me about him, because I'm like, dude, that's how you go. He blew himself up. Oh, well, the cult of Hunter Thompson will continue, irregardless of what I think he did to modern journalism or the influence, the oversized influence, really, that he's had on modern journalism. Everybody wants to get the gotcha. Everybody wants to be the guy who does the shocking thing. Stop it. Just give us the news, man. Not everybody needs to be Geraldo in the 1970s. You know, that's another guy who I've got a real issue with. Born on this day in 1950, Richard Branson. He's one of these idiot billionaires. Branson's an idiot billionaire who's going to die in a ballooning accident. That's my prediction. That's been my prediction for about 20 years. He owns Virgin. Oh, my God. He is kind of cool, though, of the idiot billionaire class, and I do consider them all to be idiots. He is kind of cool, though, because, I don't know, Virgin Records, he was in, like, the music business and all of that cool stuff. Spam. What is spam? These are political calls, right? I'm getting tired of all these political calls. Richard Branson, born on this day in 1950. Born on this day in 1951. We're gonna do a tribute to a That Girl actress. No, not from the old. What show was that? Marlo Thomas show. That Girl. I mean, you know, we like to point out, or at least I like to point out, my favorite that guy actors from time to time. And, you know, we do it the same with women. That girl actors, okay? I love this chick. This chick is so awesome. Here we go. Check her out. Margot Martindale is having a birthday today. Look at her. You guys know her, right? She's like in everything, and she's cool in all of it. Wait, why aren't we making these bigger? Boom, there we go. Look at her. She's like, she can play evil. She can play sweet. She can play smart. She can play trash. She can play sophistication. Margot Martindale, man, is quietly one of the great actresses of this generation. Everything she's in is great. Happy birthday to the queen of a that girl actress. Same thing as a that guy or that guy actor. Same thing, same principle. Born on this day in 1963. Happy birthday to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams, talk show host. Wendy Williams, well-noted provocateur. Wendy Williams, mental illness patient. Wendy Williams, addict, alcoholic, all kinds of. Wendy Williams, daytime talk show host. Wendy Williams has had a very, very interesting career. Big as they come for a cup of coffee. She was up there. She had banking huge money. I mean, making millions and millions of dollars. She was big, and then I don't know when she went a little nuts. She started missing her show. She started having these issues. Here's all I know about Wendy Williams. First of all, I was never her demo. Okay, so me being unfamiliar with Wendy Williams isn't that big. I know her because, as I say, for a period of time, she appeared to be ubiquitous in urban media. Okay, and then she's on TV everywhere, so I know who she is. She did remember that documentary they did a couple of months back? Like her family members started filming her, like what's going on with her. And it was just like really, it was real, man. It was like she's got serious problems. I only watched, I think, like one episode of that, and I enjoyed the one episode. But I felt after that one episode, that's all I needed to know. I don't I don't need to gawk at, you know, her David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger on the carpet moment, because that's all that documentary was. It was just one absolute humiliation for Wendy Williams after another. Hope she gets her help. Don't know anything about her other than, you know, she was a wreck. Born on this day. Let's see. Who else do we have? Sorry. What is going on here? My Google Drive went a little nuts. Born on this day in 1967. Happy birthday to Vin Diesel. The D's. Diesel. Vincent Abraham Desilesky. Not his real name, but probably. I don't think Vin Diesel is his real name. That's too big. That's too cool. That's too actory. It is. It's like it's Vincent Abraham Desilesky. It's something really like Eastern European and Jewish. But he's Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is a great actor. I'm gonna die on that hill. Vin Diesel is a great actor. Now, what are you talking about? Fast and the Furious? No, he's a great actor who made a choice. Vin Diesel is a Shakespearean trained actor. Vin Diesel worked on the London stage. Vin Diesel worked on Broadway. Vin Diesel was a good actor. And then the Fast and the Furious took off, and he's like, shit, I could make like $1 billion in 10 years just by riding this fucking franchise. So that's what he did. Vin Diesel in Boiler Room is great. Vin Diesel in Saving Private Ryan is great. These are all before he was Vin Diesel. This is when he was just a background actor, a supporting actor. He's great in all of these. Boiler Room is the one that I always go to. He was very impressive in Boiler Room, but his breakout was the voice role that he did in Pitch Black. In the beginning of the original Pitch Black, it was essentially a voice role. And he did that character so dramatically. He's a good actor. And then he did stupid shit. And then he did, and now he's a billionaire because of Fast and the Furious. But whatever. Happy birthday, Vin Diesel. I will die on that hill that Vin Diesel is a good actor. You'll see. You'll all see one day. Born on this day in 1977. Okay, now this is a lady that I've got a complicated relationship with. I'm a fan, and I'm also repulsed by her at the very same time. A fan, and I'm also repulsed by her. Let me pull her up for you so we can all get a look at her. Boom. There you go. That's right. Kelly Riley. Kelly Riley plays Beth Dutton on Yellowstone. Don't know if you like Yellowstone. I do. I like Yellowstone. I don't like cowboy movies. I don't like... I mean, I'm not going to say I don't like horses, but I'm fine with horses, but they're not like a draw for me. There's nothing about Yellowstone that I should like, except for maybe Costner, because I'm a big Costner head. Although I ain't going to see that stupid Western. And that looks dumb, that Horizon. And the second one got pulled from theaters, so I guess that's over with. But that was worse than Waterworld. Oh, my God. The bomb Kevin Costner just survived. I like Yellowstone because of him. That's why I started watching, because I like Costner. Then I liked Rip. I'm like, oh my God, I like Rip. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm dealing with this fascination with this stupid show, Yellowstone. I'm sorry. It's an interesting show. The storyline is good. It's a soap opera. Everything doesn't have to be Succession. You know, everything doesn't have to be, there's like, no, you know what's really going on is you got to read between the lines. Yellowstone is a very good show. The story was interesting. I kind of fell off. I don't know if I saw the last couple of episodes. Like, I got to where Costner became governor, and, you know, and I was kind of out. But I'll catch up. I don't have a problem with it. But let's talk about Kelly Riley, this lady right here. Boom. There you go. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, so that's Kelly Riley. She plays Beth Dutton. I have a very complicated fixation with her. One, I think she's hypnotically beautiful. Like, not traditionally Hollywood gorgeous. But there is something about her eyes. There is just something about her. Well, now you all know that I like bitches, right? I've told you I am attracted to a girl who exudes confidence, who will put you in your place, who doesn't give a shit. I also like a girl with a degree of sophistication mixed into that bitchy attitude. That's why I'm alone. She's kind of got that, Beth Dutton. Here's what I hate about her, though. Her character, it's just, I couldn't be with that character in real life. So it's like, do I like Beth Dutton on Yellowstone or not? Here's what she does that drives me the most crazy. The chain smoking. I can't stand the chain smoking. I know that they're trying to portray this character as a wreck, as somebody who is seething with resentment and anger and bitterness towards almost everybody because of the way the cards fell. You know, she's the daughter of this massively wealthy and influential rancher. She's sort of the princess of the family, but she doesn't really want to be a princess. She likes the cowgirl lifestyle, and she's kind of a hard drinker and a chain smoker. I hate that about her. I just hate the chain smoking. Not all the other stuff. All the other stuff I think is pretty cool, pretty sexy. I once dated an Oklahoma rodeo queen, for a couple of weeks. She was like, as a rodeo queen. I'm like, that's so hot. I saw pictures. It's like on a horse. Like, oh my God. So I kind of got that thing. Never had it when I was growing up in the Midwest, but now that I've been in Texas for over 2 decades, that's definitely hot. The country girl in the cowboy hat riding a horse. So that was good for me with her, but it was the chain smoking. And then guess what? I saw an interview with her. Saw an interview with her where she was talking about the character and about how maybe this year they're going to have her quit smoking because she herself, Kelly Riley, our birthday girl, doesn't smoke, and she hates that the character has to constantly smoke. So Kelly Riley got back in my good graces. So on those and a whole bunch more, happy birthday to Beth Dutton. Hi, Mama B. Mama B says she's late. Adam Raina says, Bill Simon's Rewatch Abel's podcast. They have a category for that guy or that girl actors. They often will cite some that are too famous to be that. Yeah, I guess that's subjective, Adam. It's all about your own awareness of an individual. Like some people might think that Margot Martindale is too famous or too, accomplished. She's got a bunch of Emmys and stuff like that for that. But I don't think so, man. I don't think people know her name. I think they should. Let's see. What else are we at here? Okay, so that was whose birthday? Kelly Riley. Kelly Riley, Beth Dutton. Good Lord. Born on this day in 1980. Okay, here's another lady that I can just go off on forever because I love her. I love her. Happy birthday, Kristen Bell. I love you, Kristen Bell. Not sexually. Like, it's not like that. It's like I want Kristen Bell to be my best friend's little sister. That's what I want from her. Or maybe like my friend's wife. No, because if we're doing that, I mean, she is hot enough. Why wouldn't I just make her my wife? It's my fantasy. Why she got to be my friend's wife? But that's not really my attraction to her. My attraction to her is that she just seems so wonderful and she's so good in everything. And I remember the very first time I saw Kristen Bell in something. It was in Deadwood. Do you guys remember Deadwood? She stood out to me immediately. And I thought, holy crap. She played a girl. Now, you know who Kristen Bell is, right? So you're picturing her. Now, picture her at like 19, just even more innocent looking and blonde and just perfect and tiny, a little petite. She's probably like 5 foot tall, blonde hair, big, beautiful eyes. So imagine her. So her character in Deadwood was, the premise was she had wandered into Deadwood with her brother and their family had been slaughtered by Indians and they needed the help and care and they were good God-fearing. And it turned out that she was just like a super con woman who was like really evil and all that. And I remember when that character in Deadwood, the Kristen Bell character, took that heel turn, I was like, holy cow, this girl is not going to be forgotten soon. And she's had a great career since then. I guess she was Veronica Mars, right? Then she was on the CW. I didn't watch that. That's not really, again, a show that demoed to me. She's been in a bunch of things. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, just so great in that. And then, of course, that show. The other place. The next place? Why can't I think of the name of that show? It is such a good show. I consider it one of the best sitcoms of the last 10 years. This is me getting older. My birthday's on Saturday. I'm going to forget even more shit, I can tell you. All right, The Good Place. The Good Place is what it was. That's it. She's adorable. She is an adorable and good actress. And her husband, man, Dax Shepard. Oh, here's what I love about them. This couple. So Dax Shepard does the podcast Armchair Expert. So good. It is such a good podcast. Forget that it's, the dude from Up the Creek or whatever. Just forget that it's Dax Shepard. Forget that it's the guy from Idiocracy. Although don't, because that's probably his greatest role and his most important film. Dax Shepard's like a hack actor. He's funny. He seems very likable, but I didn't expect anything big from him. Kristen Bell, you always think, you're like, oh, she's the moneymaker in that family. Kristen Bell is the bankable working Hollywood actress who does TV. She does movies. Dax is just along for the ride. So Dax does this little podcast, Armchair Expert. And just this week, I think we talked about it. Just this week, it was purchased exclusively by Amazon for $80 million. Guess who's the breadwinner now? That's just great for them. That's great. He's going to leave her probably. Now Dax Shepard's going to leave Kristen Bell, start hanging out with Angelina Jolie, something like that. All right, let's do some deaths, right? Or no, are we done with birthdays? Yeah, Kristen Bell is the last one. All right, deaths. These are people who've died. These are people who have died. Let's jump right into it, shall we? All right, dead on this day, John Paul Jones. He formed the Navy. He's an American hero. He's in heaven. Dead on this day in 1969, Mary Jo Kopechne. Mary Jo Kopechne. Chappaquiddick. Remember Chappaquiddick? I'm an Irish Catholic, Kennedy family, whatever. It's all part of my family brand. We're Kennedy Catholics. We're Kennedy Democrats, whatever. I remember being like 18, 19 years old, and for the first time kind of realizing and learning about what Ted Kennedy did at Chappaquiddick. And boy, oh boy, did I'd go in opposition to the Kennedy family programming that I had been spoon-fed my entire life. I'm like, oh, these people are awful too. Yeah, you don't come back from that. He was the lion of the Senate. Oh, screw you. Ted Kennedy, when the chips were down in the most important moment of his life, in a moment that would define his soul as a human, he ran and saved his own life and let a girl die. That's who he was when that moment arose, okay? So don't tell me about, he got school lunches in racist cities. He left a woman to die. He made a decision in that moment. He was a young man. That is not, I think, one of them. That's an instinct. You are either a person who does what Ted Kennedy did, or you're somebody who saves that individual, or you're somebody who dies trying to save the individual. Either way, that's one of them life moments where you really find out who you are. Ted Kennedy failed. On this day in 1969, Mary Jo Kopechne, teacher, dies in a car accident in Chappaquiddick, New York. Dead on this day in 1989. Oh, by the way, Mary Jo Kopechne is going to heaven. Of course she is. Dead on this day in 1989, Rebecca Schaeffer. Rebecca Schaeffer. Do you guys remember Rebecca Schaeffer? Rebecca Schaeffer was supposed to play the role in... Yes, Rebecca Schaeffer was an actress. She was on a sitcom called My Sister Sam. Sam was Pam Dauber from Mork and Mindy. It was a pretty successful sitcom. It was about two sisters of two different generations. Pam Dauber was a little bit older. And then Rebecca Schaeffer, she played the sister, who was younger, but a teenager. And in real life, she was a woman in her 20s. Rebecca Schaeffer was being cast by Francis Ford Coppola to play the role in Godfather 3 that eventually went to Sofia Coppola. That role, after it fell out with Rebecca Schaeffer, would be offered to Winona Ryder, who came in and I think she did a whole bunch of work on it. And then they were like, yeah, no, or something. I don't know. But anyway, the role was eventually played by Sofia Coppola. That was Rebecca Schaeffer's role. She was supposed to play that. Rebecca Schaeffer was murdered by her stalker in one of the most horrifying Hollywood stories. She had this dude, Robert Bardo was his name. This was really, on this day in 1989, this is really when we first started hearing the word stalker. Stalker, which would become ubiquitous in our vocabulary throughout the 90s. Cut it out, stalker. This was like the first time where it was used in this context. We knew about the Night Stalker, that guy had been running around LA, but this was different. This was a stalker. This was somebody who was romantically obsessed with another person who would ruin their lives by following them and eventually trying to or succeeding in killing them. That's what Robert Bardo did. Robert Bardo lived in Tempe, Arizona. Rebecca Schaeffer was in Hollywood. Robert Bardo he showed up to the set there where they filmed My Sister Sam, demanding to see Rebecca Schaeffer. He was turned away by security. He came back a couple of months later, this time with a knife. He was arrested. They said, hey, don't be nutty with a knife anymore. And they slapped his wrist and they sent him home. He would come back a third time. And he shot her in the face when she answered the door in her Hollywood home. Rebecca Schaeffer is going to heaven. She was a lovely young woman. God only knows what her career could have been. She was hot in the moment and she was murdered right there while she was, by the way, rehearsing lines for her role in The Godfather 3. Dead on this day in 1989, Rebecca Schaeffer, American model and actress. She was born in 1967. Dead on this day in 2005, preemptively, we're putting this son of a bitch in hell. General William Westmoreland. That's right, General William Westmoreland. You can have a debate with your friends over who the greatest American general is of all time. I'll fight to the death for General Ulysses S. Grant. But you're not going to have a debate, I think, when you talk about who's the fucking worst. Okay, it's General William Westmoreland. Okay, this is a man who allowed his ego. This is a man who allowed his fame or his notoriety, his pettiness to kill untold numbers of American soldiers in Vietnam, but also just indiscriminately wiping out entire villages of innocent people. William Westmoreland is in hell. Him and McFarland. You want to talk about the Vietnam War? I'll do a whole podcast on the Vietnam War. No, I won't. Nobody wants to hear that. My half-baked opinions. Anyway, moving on. William Westmoreland, American general. He died on this day in 2005. Dead on this day. Oh, here's another one. Okay, we talked about Margot Martindale. Love me some Margot Martindale. She's a That Girl actress. Here is the death. A guy died on this day who I think is one of the great That Guy actors of all time. And the very idea that he became a That Guy actor is interesting because he started out as like, he's going to be a huge star. And it just didn't work out for him. On this day in the year 2015, Alex Rocco died. Do you know who Alex Rocco is? Alex Rocco, sure you do. If you're Gen X and you grew up, you know who Alex Rocco is. Alex Rocco is most famously Mo Green from The Godfather. There he is right there. Mo Green sleeps with the fishes. Don't you remember when the Corleones, they came to Vegas? They're trying to get Mo Green in line. He's operating the casino. Mo Green is making a lot of money, but he's being a little bit difficult. And he jumps up, and I think it was Tom Hagen. Was it Duvall's Tom Hagen? We're going to watch The Godfather. My son and I are going to watch The Godfather this weekend for my birthday. That's the movie we decided on. I think it was Tom Hagen who shows up and he's like, Mr. Corleone would appreciate, Don Vito would appreciate. And then Mo Green jumps up. He's like, let me tell you something, you greaseball guineas. Mo Green. Remember, he's getting a massage. He's getting a massage in his hotel. Some dude walks in and puts a bullet right through his eye. And that great scene. Mo Green was a very important part of a very big movie. And you would think that maybe this guy would have more of a career than what he would end up having. Alex Rocco would go on to be one of the great That Guy actors. Sitcoms. If there was a sitcom in the 1970s that needed a guest, it was Alex Rocco. There he is in his older days. Great actor, too. Great character actor. There he is winning an Emmy. You won something. Let me see a good... There you go. There's 70s Alex Rocco. Showing up on Maude. Showing up on One Day at a Time. Let's see here. There you go. That's 1970. I'm putting him in heaven because I like Mo Green may sleep with the fishes, but Alex Rocco dances with the angels. All right, that's going to do it. I think that's it, right? Those are all the people that have died on this day, I think. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I got one more. Here. I got a fun fact associated with this one, too. This is a fun fact. Okay. Dead on this day in 2018, Adrian Cronauer. Adrian Cronauer was famously immortalized by Robin Williams in the film Good Morning Vietnam. Loved that movie. Loved the story of what happened to her. Oh, there we go. Loved the story of Adrian Cronauer. As told in the film Good Morning Vietnam. He goes over to Vietnam. He's the voice of America. He needs to, it's all very staid and very stale. And he shows up and he's basically the Howard Stern for the American military. He's doing this good rock and roll music, crazy. That's not at all what it was like. That's actually not the real story. Here's how that went on. Adrian Cronauer was that guy. He did that. He did a popular show for about a year and a half while he was stationed in Saigon. And he came back to America and he started doing a whole bunch of things. I think he became a lawyer. I think he did a whole bunch of little, things. But one of the things that he wanted to do was he wanted to write television shows. He wanted to become a TV writer. So he pitched MASH and WKRP in Cincinnati were two very big hit TV shows at the time that he began pitching this. So he went to Hollywood and he's like, look, I got this story. It's a mashup of MASH and WKRP. And that script made its way. That pitch, that premise for that TV show made its way around, and it fell into the hands, not even years later. I just think it was years later. It fell into the hands somehow of Robin Williams. And Robin Williams saw a character here that he felt that he could do. Robin Williams would go on to do a whole bunch of other movies, blah, blah, blah. And then 10 years later, or whatever it was, Robin Williams went, I have all the power in Hollywood right now. I can do whatever the hell I want. And if you remember how big Robin Williams was back then, say like 1985, 86 or whatever. I think this movie came out in 88. he was writing his own tickets. So that's when he reached back. He found this old TV things. He handed it to a screenwriter. He said, develop this into a vehicle for me. And that is the story of Good Morning Vietnam. It is not Adrian Cronauer's story. Yes, he did open every show with Good Morning Vietnam. That was real. And Robin Williams used that as a kickoff to this completely different character that Robin Williams created. That is not what Adrian Cronauer is like. Here's my fun fact. I promised you an Adrian Cronauer fun fact. So he wasn't the only, the movie made it seem like he was the guy. There were a whole bunch of guys like after him, like he was only there a year and a half, then there was another guy who did mornings. And that guy in mornings, he kept doing the good morning. And like 12 guys did the Good Morning Vietnam sign on there at that radio station. Adrian Cronauer was the first. He did it first. That was his. But then everybody else kept it and everybody else did it. You know who replaced Adrian Cronauer when Adrian Cronauer had to be cycled out or whatever they do there in the military? The very next person who started the tradition of doing good morning after Adrian Cronauer was Pat Sajak. Pat Sajak from Wheel of Fortune is the guy who replaced Adrian Cronauer. So Pat Sajak is a guy who also did Good Morning Vietnam for years. We're putting Adrian Cronauer in heaven because I always liked his story. I always liked how he was like, yeah, that's not me. Like during the hype of Good Morning Vietnam, they brought him out and we're talking with Adrian Cronauer, the real live morning DJ and he was like, yeah, you know what? Robin Williams is such an amazing comic actor. I hope people don't think that that's me. I couldn't do that. That's him. He was always cool about it while making sure that people understood that no, he didn't do that stuff. He didn't get whatever, like there was an incident where he was blown up or something. That didn't happen. He said that he did teach, Adrian Cronauer did in his spare time, he taught English to Vietnamese kids, which was depicted in the film. But in the film, Robin Williams is teaching him how to swear, like, oh, fuck you. And then the whole class goes, oh, fuck you. Very funny. Adrian Cronauer's like, I didn't do that. Because I was actually trying to teach him English. That was a part of the movie. Anyway, Adrian Cronauer was a cool guy. He died on this day in 2015. That's going to do it. The first 3 quarters of the show are in the book. So let's move forward now into all the things that are happening today. I would like to one more time remind you, this show runs on your gratuities. Tip the show if you can. It sure would be appreciated. Thank you to Mama B. Mama B tipped yesterday. She would be the executive producer of today's show if we still did that. Thank you, Mama B. Let's see here. All right, so a little bit different today because I don't have a TV around me. So let me check something really quick before I jump into the top story, because there was a story that I was watching that was developing. I don't know. I got to see the latest on it. What? Ugh. Oh God, stupid polls. I don't know if that's a real poll or not. We'll go over it. I'm trying to. Okay, so just before we signed on today, I was watching the news. I don't have the TV. The TV, this is a show. Usually I have the TV on and it's on news so I can watch if something big breaks. But before we came on today, the big story that was developing was that Biden, of course, last night we learned that he's got COVID. Okay. Whatever. Okay. All right. He's got COVID. Yeah, he's got COVID. All right. I'll accept it. That's just not a convenient way for him to now be able to bow out gracefully. No, I'll accept it. The man has COVID. Show some respect. Okay. That's fine. I'll go along with it. But now this morning, the dropout chorus is back in full effect. Last week, after the debate, there was the whole, he needs to drop out. And I'm with him. I think he needs to drop out. That was the chorus. We were told, wait 10 days. Let's see how much damage the debate did to Biden's poll numbers. We waited 10 days. New polls came out. They were still tied. The debate had zero effect on Biden's numbers. just like the convictions had almost zero effect on Trump's numbers. So the chorus died down, right? Didn't Biden make a speech and everybody's like, he's back, baby? You know, and so it's like now the people who are like, he can't win, he can't win. They were quieted over the past few days, week, I'd say, by people going, okay, let's put that one to rest. You got it out of your system. He's our guy. Let's roll. Which is very distressing to someone like me. So I'm like, no, let's not roll with him. So it's back. The Biden chorus is back. I don't know if it is a direct result of Trump and the way he handled the assassination, which cannot be denied. I'm not a fan of that guy. I've told you since the 1980s, I thought he was a punchline, and now a whole bunch of people taking him real serious. I don't think so. So that's always been my vibe on Trump. He seems like a con man to me. Always has. But nobody in the history of an assassination attempt, aside from maybe Teddy Roosevelt, has handled it better. I'm telling you, that guy with the fight. I mean, that's the most badass thing. Fuck. Like, people who really hate Trump, in their quiet moments, they see that and it hurts. It hurts them. It hurts that that's how he reacted. That was crazy. But the court, at that point, I guess the chorus is back. He's got to resign. He's got to resign. But now it's coming from some very important people. Nancy Pelosi has apparently told Joe Biden last night that there is no way that he can win, and that for America, not for his ego, not for I can beat this guy. Yeah, sure you can. But the stakes are much higher than you, and whether or not I beat him before, I can beat him again. No, Joe, the stakes. This is what Nancy Pelosi tried to get through his head, and it was after that. It was apparently after that conversation that suddenly Biden's got corona. Okay. Now I look at these things and they're all connected. And one thing they want to do for Joe Biden is they don't want to humiliate him. So they got to create some kind of story. Why? Because they're all just naturally duplicitous. They can't just say, you know what? He came to his senses. He can't win. Why? Because that might hurt his feelings. I want a president who's tougher than that. Okay, so that's just another reason why I don't think that dude should be around. You're telling me that he's been filled with a bunch of people surrounding him, telling him all kinds of nonsense? That's apparently something that Obama told him. That the people around you are not giving you the real numbers, Joe. So Pelosi and Obama are two people who are now apparently, Pelosi we know for sure, the Obama thing we don't have any kind of real confirmation, but apparently those are the two who are telling him, you got to go. And you got to go now. So as we were signing on here, CNN reported in breaking news, which means that this is big to the, I know CNN, just stop it. But as a journalist, I can tell you the mechanisms that have to happen, how something is a big story and you can tell it's a big story. So anyway, before we were signing on, CNN came on with the breaking news, top and senior. They went out of their way to really make it seem like this is not just a source. This is a high-ranking source. Senior White House officials, something about Biden going to drop out. Biden changing his mind this weekend could be when the dropout happens. It was first reported by Axios. It was then followed up by CNN. So that's what I was looking for when I said, hold on, before we get started, let me see if there's anything here. Frankie points out Schumer as well. Look, they're all of them. All of them now. All of them who were quiet in the first round, the 72 hours after the debate, the ones who were quiet. And then the ones who didn't raise their voices when it seemed like it was all coming to an end, where people were, last week when it was like, see, where's all the Biden should step down people now? They were quiet then. But after the assassination, apparently now we've got the big names. Adam Schiff. He's out there in California. He's like, Biden, you got to go. I'm going on record now. Pelosi, Biden, you got to go. I'm going on record. Barack Obama, Biden, you got to go. Not sure that one's on record. Chuck Schumer. So it's just real convenient about the coronavirus thing. This is he was supposed to be campaigning relentlessly this weekend. When Axios reports that he could be making an announcement this weekend, that would tell me that might be real, because if you were going to make this announcement over the weekend, you were going to wait till after the Republican convention, because that's probably what he's going to do. He'll probably address the nation from the Oval Office. You would wait till after the convention, and I lost my place. Hold on, I need a drink. I just think it's happening. I really think it's happening. I don't know who they're going to go with. They might be like, it's Kamala time, to which I'll be like, no. But okay, all right. I got people I like. You know I like Andy Beshear. I like Andy Beshear coming out of nowhere. He's the governor of Kentucky. He's a pretty good dude, methinks. They love him. The conservatives love him there. The left loves him there. He's very popular, Andy Beshear. He shows how, you can just be a decent person. You can work with everybody. Anyway, we're going to have to look for that this weekend. We're going to have to find out if Biden's going to step down or not. People are coming out of the... Actually, you know what? Here, let me do it this way. We'll pull it up. There it is. Please be true. Top Biden aides believe president will drop out of the race. Axios and CNN report. President Joe Biden could be dropping his re-election campaign as soon as this weekend. Several top Democrats have told Axios in a stunning report. Mike Allen of Axios write, we increasingly hear top Biden aides, including ones who initially urged him to fight on after his disastrous debate on June 27th, 21 days ago. These people are now saying it's now, when, not if. Okay, those people are now saying whether or not he drops out. Those people are saying it's now when and not if Biden announces he's not running. Multiple Democrats spoke anonymously with Axios and said rising pressure from congressional Democrats and close friends are making Biden dropping from the race a matter of when and if not, and not if. Biden says he's staying in the race. His choice is to be one of, okay, what is this? This is good. Biden has insisted he's remaining in the race amid concerns about his age and stamina. He is currently self-isolating in Delaware with COVID. Here's a quote now. His choice is to be one of history's heroes or to be sure of the fact that there will never be a Biden library. Wow. That's from a major Democratic donor. Major Democratic donor is saying Joe Biden's got to decide, does he want to step down and be an American hero for stepping down? Putting somebody in there who the Dems think can win. I'm not sure about that now after the assassination, but whatever. You be a hero? Or do you want to be a dude that runs, loses, and then you never get a fucking library? Nobody wants to talk to you, you one-term asshole. That's the pressure that he's on right now. So we'll see. I hope he steps down. I hope he steps down just because I don't want these two. Whatever. Give me Trump and another person. Let's see how that goes for a while and then check back in with me. See who it is. Or actually, you want to know what I think? We get rid of Biden, Trump. Let's get rid of him next. Let's just get two fresh guys. By October, let's be arguing about two completely unknowns that we don't know dick about. That is my hope for you. The RNC is ongoing. Tonight's a big night at the RNC, right? It's Trump night. Last night, JD Vance was out there. He's the vice president. He's out there with his mascara. The man wears eye makeup. I don't know. Look at it yourself. Tell me what you think. The man wears eye makeup. Nobody says anything about it, but okay, fine. He likes to look pretty is kind of what I get from it. He made his speech last night. I guess that would be his introduction to America because there's a lot of people that don't know who he is. Who else did they have? They had Savannah Chrisley. I love just a rogues gallery of just nonsense people they put out there. Savannah Chrisley. Savannah Chrisley is the daughter of that that Chrisley Knows Best guy, the reality show guy, he and his wife, he's super homosexual, but they don't seem to mention it because he's got a wife and kids, but he's super homosexual. That's clear if anybody knows that guy. Well, he's in jail and his wife is in jail because it turns out that they were horrible people who were taking fake loans and creating phony documents and all that stuff. So they're in jail for being con people. And of course, their daughter is talking about how the Justice Department railroad at the RNC. That's where we are. That's where it hurt. We have Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is taking a lot of heat. That's another one. How do you people, seriously, like, there are some real bad people in the Democratic side, but it's like none are as obviously a douchebag as Matt Gaetz. How do you people tolerate him? How do you not? You got to start running these people. You got to start running these people out of town. You gotta. You just gotta. You gotta start running them out of your party, man. It's nonsense, people. Matt Gaetz taking a lot of heat online because apparently he went up there with like Botox and his eyebrows were. He looked ridiculous. He's a ridiculous person. All right, so that was last night. Tonight we got Hulk Hogan. That's going to be cool. Where are my Hulkamaniacs at? That's going to be fun. It's going to be Hulk Hogan at the RNC speaking. It's going to talk. I think he's going to talk about infant mortality. That's going to be really deep. He ain't talking about that. You know what Hulk Hogan's probably going to do? Let me tell you about the Justice Department. When my son Nick killed a kid drag racing in Orlando, he's going to pretend like that was all right. Not just a rich kid fucked up. Nah, who knows? He wouldn't dare. Not after Savannah Chrisley uses the RNC to advocate for her criminal parents while tearing down our entire justice system. Might there be problems? Sure, absolutely. Did they get the right people with the Chrisleys? You're fucking goddamn right they did. My God, what is wrong with you people? Got Dana White. Dana White's going to be out there tonight. I like Dana. Dana's funny. He's good. What am I doing here? He'll probably go out there with a beer in his hand. And then, of course, Trump. You got Trump. Trump's going to be out there tonight. Trump. So there you go. That's what you got for the RNC. I will not be watching. Excuse me. I will not be watching because I'm not a dork. Because that is just the worst TV. You want to see a Hulk Hogan speech? Just go to YouTube and pull up Hulk Hogan speaking engagement. That's what you want to watch on a Thursday night? No, thank you. I'm 3 seasons into my Battlestar Galactica rewatch, so you know where my priorities lie. All right, let's keep going here. We talked about Biden. He's got COVID, ear bandages. What's this, you people? It's not a cult. You people are walking around in public with ear bandages in solidarity to Trump. Fuck you people. You dorks. Just come on. Weirdos. Let's see. What else do we have here? Ear bandages. Everybody out there at the RNC, they got ear bandages because they're weird. Hinckley. John Hinckley was making news. John Hinckley, he sent out a tweet. He went kind of viral on it. John Hinckley, of course, singer-songwriter now. That's how I recognize him. I'm willing to let the past be the past. He did his time in the rubber room or wherever the hell they put him for 40 years or however long. I don't know. Anyway, he's a good singer-songwriter, and he's out there. And guess what he said? He put out after the Trump assassination, after the failed Trump assassination. He is now, and this is quite admirable to him because you know what? John Hinckley is no longer America's #1 failed presidential assassin. He isn't. He has been surpassed by this Trump guy. This Trump guy missed. Now, you might say, but Hinckley at least hit him. Yeah, he did. Nah, this other guy is a bigger one than Hinckley. That's what I'm saying. Because he totally missed. And the whole point is you're a failed assassin. He totally missed him. We got his ear. No, he didn't. That's the prompter. But okay. By the way, I'm on Team Prompter now. I've seen all the breakdowns, and I've seen it, and Jet's like, the prompter wasn't broken. Fuck you, say. What do you mean the prompter wasn't? There's half a dozen long-form videos that shows the prompter shattered. By the way, after this happened, everybody had their phones out. Yeah, everybody started filming. You can see the glass shattered all over. So stop it. Prompter wasn't broken. Says who? Where'd you get that from? Nick Fuentes? Who the hell's telling you this nonsense? Look, it's there. The pictures are there. And don't get the pictures from fucking social media. Guy on my Facebook page. There's this picture of the shooter. It's a trans person going around. It ain't the shooter. I mean, it's been debunked. The people know who the dude in the picture is. It's like some weirdo gamer guy. But no, he kind of looks weird. And it's, he kind of looks like a cross tranny person. Can I say that? I don't know. I'm trying to be respectful. But it ain't the shooter. People are like, oh, look at the shooter. He was trans. Let's keep hating trans. Stop it, you dummies. We don't know anything about this guy. I don't know. See, we can have a reasonable conversation about the shit that's going on here because I don't think it's all kosher. But all the nonsense doesn't need to be like our baseline for where we start our investigation here. It's not how it works. Yeah, I'd start with the Secret Service. Look at me, right? A couple days ago, I'm defending the Secret Service. I believe in the Secret Service. But my God, man, how did that happen? How did that happen? This is going to be, I believe, because of just the nature of who we are as people in 2024, there's going to be conspiracy theories forever regarding this situation. Only the most retarded are still saying it was teleprompter glass. Well, call me retarded. Okay. I know, Byron, I'm not in your silly 4chan group or whatever the hell it is. Your Telegram group of people. I don't know. I tease. It's silly. Stop it. Is there something fishy? Yeah. Let's find out what's fucking going on here. Because there's something going on. I don't believe any of this nonsense I'm seeing on Facebook. From people who I know, like half my friends from back in Illinois are like, bah, bah. I'm like, you're a moron. Love you too, bro. Yeah, I know. All right, let's keep going. Hinkley sent out a tweet that said, violence never solved anything. You know, it comes from the source. That's pretty funny. What else do we have? Let's talk about this. Okay. Let's talk about this. You know what? I don't want to pull it up from here. I'm going to pull it up from here. Did you hear about what happened with Terrell Davis? This is nuts. Terrell Davis, of course, Hall of Fame running back, Denver Broncos, one of the greatest running backs in the history of the game. Terrell Davis was on a plane over the weekend with his wife and kids, and he got hauled off the plane and arrested. Now, remember, I used to say who this show was for. This show is for people who have never been thrown off an airplane. If you've been thrown off an airplane, you're not allowed to listen to this show because you're not my kind of people. If you've ever gotten into a fist fight in a Target over, I don't know, some merchandise that they've got on sale, you are not allowed to listen to this show because you're a crazy person. If you've been banned from your family's Thanksgiving dinner, birthday parties, do the family get together spontaneously and you only hear about it after the fact? Yeah, you're not allowed to listen to this show. If you're that guy, you're nuts. Terrell Davis got himself kicked off an airplane. He didn't go kicking and screaming. He went like a gentleman, apparently. But my God, you got to hear this story. NFL Hall of Famer Terrell Davis says he was handcuffed and removed from a United Airline flight in front of his family. NFL Hall of Famer Terrell Davis is speaking out after he says he was wrongfully handcuffed and removed from a United Airlines flight over the weekend following an incident with a flight attendant on board. A flight attendant. So here's what's happening here. They're flying from Denver. They're home in Denver. It's Terrell, his wife, and his two kids. They're flying to California. And during this beverage service where the cart comes up the aisle, his young son, who I believe was like 8 years old, asked for a cup of ice. He said to the flight attendant, the little boy, "May I have a cup of ice?" And the flight attendant completely ignored him and then moved up to the next row and began serving the people in the next row. Seeing this, Terrell Davis, who was seated next to his son, reached up and tugged on the jacket of the flight attendant, who was now past them in the next row. Reached up and tugged as if to say, "Excuse me, can I get a cup of ice for my kid?" The flight attendant, and by the way, this was backed up by everybody in the immediate area. Everybody, not even related to Terrell Davis, everybody else in the immediate area was shocked by the way the flight attendant responded. Remember now, Terrell Davis just reaches across and tugs on, excuse me, can my kid get a cup of ice? Excuse me, can you get a cup of ice? It was greeted by the flight attendant saying, "Don't hit me!" Turned around, screamed, "Don't hit me!" and then stormed away, leaving the cart there. not to be seen again. Apparently, this flight attendant was just absolutely devastated by Terrell Davis asking. So somebody comes back, the cart disappears, the plane lands, right? Flight goes off as normal. I don't know if the kid ever got his ice or what, but, flight goes off as normal. Nobody says anything. Plane lands in California. Before anybody is allowed to disembark the aircraft, federal agents storm the plane. Apparently, they've been told there's a big, scary black guy beating up a flight attendant. That's what the cops thought. That's what the cops were told. Because this flight attendant, I was assaulted. Oh, he's gigantic, officers. Please, you're going to have to send backup. So they all show up. Before, folks, we're going to need to remain seated. We would like the gentleman and seat further to stand up. And, they did that whole thing in front of everybody. This is Terrell Davis. This guy's like a multi-millionaire. He's a Hall of Famer. And if you're familiar with his career, he always seemed like a pretty cool guy. He wasn't a mouth. He wasn't a talker. We don't see him. He doesn't crave the spotlight. He's not Deion Sanders, is my point. He stands up. He walks out. They put him in handcuffs in front of his kids, and they walk him out. Now, during the investigation, he's being held and being interviewed, and the people, the federal authorities are now talking to other people who are on the plane who are coming forward to say, why is that man in handcuffs? And by the way, everybody didn't know it was Terrell Davis. It's just a dude, just a dad. Why is that man? The cops there got the story, and the cops are like, oh, we're so sorry, sir. And they let him go because based on what everybody said, and then based on an interview with the flight attendant, the police and the feds or the FBI or whoever it is that handles that kind of thing, they made a snap judgment in the moment that the flight attendant was fucking nuts, totally overreacted, and that this man never hit the flight attendant. So Terrell Davis was released. Flight attendant has been fired. Or actually, wait, I don't know. The firing was a misreport. Let me see what it says here. United Airlines is like, yeah, we're really sorry. Because apparently everybody who saw it was like, he didn't do anything. During the exchange, Davis alleges that the flight attendant, who has not been publicly identified, shouted, "Don't hit me," and left the beverage cart to hurriedly run to the front of the plane. Davis says that he recalled both himself and other passengers on board being very confused after witnessing the reaction from the flight attendant. Terrell Davis says, I thought nothing of it. Other than this spectacular employee, or other than this particular employee was incredibly rude and blatantly wrong in his accusations of me hitting him. I did not see or interact with him further for the entire duration of the flight. The retired NFL player said that once the plane landed in California, 6 FBI and other law enforcement agents boarded the plane and placed him in handcuffs. He alleges that he was removed from the flight in front of his wife and children. Davis says the incident has left him humiliated, embarrassed, and powerless. Now, he says, I'm just angry. During questioning, it was rightfully determined by the agents that this flight attendant was inaccurate in his accusation. Oh, really? Inaccurate, but still the man has to be put in handcuffs in front of his kids. Inaccurately. Why? Because just like this flight attendant. Can you imagine the flight attendant? How flamboyant and how, stop it! He must have been. During questioning, it was rightfully determined by the agents that the flight attendant was inaccurate in his accusations. The agents profusely apologized to Davis, even offering to support him and family in any way possible, he wrote, which means that if there is a lawsuit, they're like, yeah, we're the FBI. Yeah, we'll be on your side. We'll say, we found out what was happening here in this person in United Airlines. You should give them money. In an email to NPR, the FBI confirmed that agents and local law enforcement at John Wayne Airport responded to a report regarding an incident that occurred aboard a flight. While they did not confirm specific names or details, the agency told NPR that an individual was detained for questioning, was very cooperative with law enforcement, and was then released to continue his travels with his family. That's how they're describing Terrell Davis. United Airlines tells NPR that it has removed the flight attendant from their duties while the airline closely reviews the incident. The airline adds that it will continue to work with Davis and his team to discuss the incident. Goes on to say, a quote from United Airlines, "This is clearly not the kind of travel experience we strive to provide, and we have reached out to Mr. Davis's team to apologize," the airline said. Holy shit. So Terrell Davis is going around telling this story, and I saw this story last night on, I think it was on CNN, What a gentleman Terrell Davis is. I just can't believe that individuals, crazy individuals, have this kind of power. Now, I know this isn't like a terror incident or anything, but that this flight attendant, because of the world we live in, anything that this flight attendant reports, having observed on the flight, is taken super seriously. This flight attendant is obviously an idiot. This flight attendant is obviously somebody who's very extravagant, very dramatic, very whatever, maybe having a bad day and just didn't want to give the kid whatever. Terrell Davis, his plane incident. Hey, there's a suicide pod. Anybody interested? Just in time for the 2024 elections. That's right. There is a new thing that you can buy. It's called a suicide pod. Oh. What, you don't have a car in a garage? Isn't that a suicide pod? That's the first suicide pod will be used. First suicide pod soon in Switzerland. Show you a picture of this thing. What are they going to have these? What these going to be at malls? You're just gonna where? Because you can't buy these. You're going to use them once. Nobody's going to buy a suicide pod. You're going to use it once. Although maybe that's why you buy it. You don't care. You don't really give a shit. You go out and that's what a suicide pod looks like. What it does is you go inside, you lay down in the O2, the oxygen is replaced with, I'll tell you exactly what it is. I don't know, you suffocate. It's that whole thing. It's the same thing, the people do in their garage with their cars and all of that stuff, but now if you're rich and depressed, you can spend a whole bunch of money and you can buy a suicide pod. Okay, here's a fun story. Italy has a problem with American tourists, especially at this specific place. American tourists need to stop trying to fuck the ancient statues. That is a problem. They're even discussing banning Americans from being able to get anywhere near them, and they say it is a distinctly American situation. Here, I'll show you. Here's some pictures of it. Americans, we're the worst. When we travel, we just don't know how to behave. All right, so apparently people are doing it for like Instagram and stuff. Like, look at this. Like, look at this chick. They're like, please don't fuck the statues, Americans. Please just don't come over here and like do this kind of shit. They want to ban Americans from being able to visit these tourist attractions in Italy because more and more recently, Americans seem to be using this as an opportunity to make crazy Instagram pictures of them doing all kinds of depraved things with these ancient works of art. That's America, baby. That's who we are. What's that? What's going on with that? What's that thing? What's that thing right there? Why is that? There we go. All right. Adam Reyna says Suicide Pod is his least favorite DC movie. That's pretty good. I like it. I like that. Made me smile. Make me smile. Let's see. What else do we have here? We're running out of time, guys. We are running out of time. We're going to have to wrap this up. Oh, man. I'm going to save this for tomorrow. There's a couple things I want to save for tomorrow. Like this one story, I want to get into it because it's going to make people mad, and it's really funny. What it is it's from the United States Census Bureau. It is a breakdown of household income by ethnic group. Like it shows like how much money does the average Mexican family bring in versus say the average white family? How much does the average Chinese family in America? How much does the average Indian family bring in? I'll do this tomorrow because we've got to get into the weeds on it because it's really funny. But I got news for you, white people. We don't do so well. We do not do well at all. Thank God for Black Americans, because if it wasn't for Black Americans, the white Americans would be at the absolute bottom of the list. Look out for the Indians, man. The Hindus, I don't know, Hindus, what do we call it? Anyway, we'll get into that tomorrow. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're really funny, and they get really specific. Like there's an ethnic group in America called the Hongs. I don't know what they are. The Hong, I don't know what they are. I'm going to learn about them. I'll tell you what, that's what I'll better myself for tomorrow when we talk about that. But like the Hongs, they average like $105,000 a year in their family households. It's like they're like way up there. I'm like, who are the Hyungs? Who are these people? Let's see what else. Oh, you know what? I had some thoughts. I don't have time to go into this properly. So I finished watching this season of The Bear last night. It's been out for weeks. You know how I like to binge watch stuff. I want to give a full review. I want to talk about the good. I want to talk about the bad. And don't trust me when I tell you, I'm not one of these people who thinks that there's nothing bad about the Bear. No, there's a lot of stupid shit. It's not great. This season was not great. This was easily the worst season. It does seem to me like this season was created solely for there to be a fourth season. Because this was all exposition. This entire season was just exposition on the characters so that we get to know them. It didn't really move the plot forward. There were some distractions with, the relationship with Claire and all that stuff. I want to get into the Bear. I want to do we'll do it tomorrow because I've got a really, I think, thoughtful and well-considered review of the Bear. I'll tell you something that I did like last night. I appreciated I think I watched the last 2 episodes maybe last night. Why did it take me so long to binge it? Because there were episodes this season that were not great. They didn't move. They were like, ugh. Anyway, I did love there was a scene at the closing dinner of a restaurant that means a lot to the main characters. It's going out of business. But there was a scene yesterday, Adam and I got into a fight about Grant Schultz, or how do I say that right? Schultz, whatever. He's like the guy that everybody in Chicago says is who Carmy is based on. There's another dude, Curtis Duffy. Is it Curtis Duffy or is it Curtis Grace? Curtis Duffy Grace, maybe that's it. It's another guy. Anyway, the character of Carmy is a big mashup of all these guys. But Grant Schultz is the dude in Chicago cooking. He runs Alinea. Alinea is because Adam's like, you don't know. And I'm like, no, dude, I do actually. I mean, like I remember when Alinea was opened. I remember anyway. Never been there, would never go there. Too expensive, and you got to wait 2 years to get a dinner table, but whatever. Anyway, he's like the big guy in Chicago. Chicago has a very good culinary scene, very good one, world class. I don't know that a lot of people think that. I think people think Chicago food is pizza and hot dogs, and it is. We get the market cornered in blue collar working man food as well. But as far as the high end stuff goes, there's almost 30 Michelin stars in Chicago. That's just in the city. We're not talking about the suburbs. In the city of Chicago, there are 30 Michelin stars that have been awarded to different kitchens. Now, you're probably wondering, is that a lot? Dallas has 0. Dallas is a restaurant capital of America. Dallas has 0 Michelin stars. They might get one. They've got Michelin. Dallas has Michelin-starred chefs who are working here, but they didn't earn those stars for the places that they're working currently in Dallas. So it's a really great food scene. And Grant Schultz has sort of always been, at least for the last 25 years or so, since the turn of the century, Grant has always been the guy in Chicago. And there was a great scene where Luca, the character of Luca, this was in the funeral dinner episode for Ever, the restaurant on The Bear. I don't want to ruin it for you. But just a fun fact, Luca, the guy that Luca is pestering to the point where he finally is like, I got to get out of here. I got to leave. That's Grant. That's Grant Schultz. That's the guy who, and you can tell by the way Luca was like fawning over him, that even in this room full of theoretical genius chefs, some pretend, some fictional, many real. That dinner scene, those were like half of those people were real chefs at real restaurants around. They really do the chef thing right on that show. I'm a chef groupie. I like these guys. I think they're cool. They're like artists. They're like real temperamental and awful and all of those things. Anyway, I thought that scene, was he in there before? I hadn't noticed him before. And then there he is, and Luca's like, "So did you use air to get that?" And Grant is like answering the questions really nice until finally he's like, "I gotta get out of here." Oh, also the dude. Another fun fact about the Bear that I didn't know. Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi, the guy who brings the vegetables into the kitchen. The guy's got a mustache, he talks like that. He's got a real Chicago accent, and he's like, you got to get the beef window open. That guy there. They're talking about the beef window, that guy. I didn't realize that's the actual owner of Mr. Beef. That's not even an actor. That dude's not even an actor. That dude owns Mr. Beef. He's the son. He inherited it from his dad. His dad started Mr. Beef in like 1965. The bear is shot at Mr. Beef, that restaurant, the outside establishing shots, of Chicago's original beef, which was what the bear began as. That's Mr. Beef. That's Mr. Beef. We talked about Mr. Beef yesterday. Sally, Mama B, she doesn't like Mr. Beef. I don't mind Mr. Beef. I think Mr. Beef is good. I think Mr. Beef is better than Al's, which is, might be blasphemous to some people's ears. I think Pops is better than all of them. There you go. That's enough. I got nothing else. Got stuff to do today. We got to sign off here. We got to get out of here. I got to have something set up by 2:00. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow, right? We'll do more. I hope you've enjoyed today in the inside the tomb room. We were outside the tomb room yesterday. Today, inside the tomb room, where we have this giant. I can't reach. I can't show it to you. Anyway. I love you guys. Be well. We'll be back tomorrow at noon here from the eGallery Studios in the beautiful Dallas Design District. It is The Rant on RadioMisfits.com.